So I've had this camera now for the past month, and I've been using it in a lot of different scenarios, just kind of like testing it out, seeing how it works, seeing, the good, the bad. So when you look at the design of this thing, right, if you've ever used a DJI Pocket, you already kind of know how to use this camera. It has some of the same button layouts. It has some of the same on-screen displays. The settings are very similar. One thing to note is on this particular camera, which is actually a lot nicer than some of the other Pocket cameras, is that it has this little zoom rocker right here. So you can do your zoom in and zoom out. Because this thing is so minimalistic, it's so compact, you literally can store this in your pocket. One thing about this camera is that, if you already been doing your research on the Insta360, you know that the screen attaches from the camera, right? You know that you can basically just take it, you flip it out here, take these little controls, and the screen comes off. And so that was the whole big selling point about this camera, is the fact that you can actually take the screen on and off and basically be able to compose a shot, which to me is, I think, and I've said this in a previous video, I think it is a game changer. It really is a game changer, the fact that you can take the screen off. The problem is, and one of the things I've been noticing as I've been taking the screen off, is the fact that the warning sign saying that the connection isn't that strong, that does come up a lot more often than maybe some of the other videos that creators have made have talked about. There's times where I'll set the camera up, I'll place it on like a little tripod, take the screen off, and then I'll just walk back, right? And I'll walk back, stand where I need to stand, frame my shot up. I can be 10 feet away, 20 feet away, sometimes as far as 30 feet away, and nothing comes up. But these are also in conditions where there's nothing in front of me. Like there's no items, there's no people, there's no other electronics in the way. So with that, there's a clean signal. But what I've been noticing is anytime I'm in a space where, even if it's just a couple of things in the way, if I set the camera up and I walk behind a chair, that message might come up. Now, I still have control of the camera, which is kind of weird. Like it'll say that I've lost connect, or not lost connection, but it'll say like I have like low connection or something like that, or they're basically saying like I'm starting to lose signal, but I still have access to it. So there's been times where I've set the camera up, I've walked around, went upstairs, went downstairs, whatever the case may be, or like went around a corner or something like that, or there's stuff in front of it, and the weak signal icon will pop up. So it's kind of weird because the weak signal comes up actually pretty often, but I've never actually lost signal. Like I don't lose signal. So like it'll say weak signal. I might not be able to see the image that clearly. Like it'll be very, very, very blurry, but I'm still able to like set and like sort of like frame my shot. It might take a half a second, might take a few seconds, but it still seems to be very operational. To me, this is not one of them where you can just go set the camera up on a tripod, take the monitor off, and then it's just off during the entirety of whatever shoot you have. If you're a solo filmmaker and you're trying to record yourself, or you're trying to take a picture of yourself, right? You set the camera up where you want to place it, you go to your spot, you frame it, figure out what your framing is, you take your picture, you shoot your video, and then as soon as you're done, you put this thing back onto the camera. Which, by the way, this also leads me to my next point, is whenever I've taken this monitor off, one of the things that I notice is that it starts to overheat, or at least heat up pretty quickly. I start noticing that the monitor is, starting to get hot, to the point where I'm actually kind of concerned. Like I don't know if, it's going to be a problem. I don't know if it's going to affect the monitor, down the line. I would say don't think of this monitor as your second monitor, like as a reference monitor. I would think of this almost as let me just set my shot really quickly and then, you know, take whatever picture or video I need to take and then immediately put this monitor back on the camera. Because the minute I put it on the camera, it cools down. All that, the overheating, all that stuff cools down. The weak signal, that goes out the window. So when I got this camera, I didn't get, you know, the Black Pro Mist filters. I didn't get the ND filters. I didn't get any of the other add-ons because plain and simple, they weren't available when I went to go buy this camera. Like when I bought it, I think all of the NDs were sold out. Some of the other sites that make, you know, that's not Insta360, you know, that make their own set of ND filters, they weren't even available yet, or they were already like sold out, or you had to like pre-order them. So I haven't even gotten any type of filter. So all of the footage that you've seen that I've posted, that is straight out of camera. That is no filters, no Black Pro Mist, that's nothing. That's just the camera, you flip it on and you start recording. But for the most part, when I bought this camera, I did not want this to be a camera that I would go into the settings often. This was kind of like a camera that I wanted to almost just set it and forget it. So this camera, all the videos I've shown, that has been in auto white balance, auto shutter, and then as far as ISO, it's 400 max, meaning that it will basically range between 100 to 400. And that has been all of my settings. And that's basically my settings, right? So I shoot in 24 or 25 frames per second. I got auto white balance. Auto white balance, I think, is pretty good on this camera. I have an auto shutter because I'm moving in and out of different locations and I don't have an ND filter yet. So I can't just kind of set it at a certain shutter speed, you know, to get that true, you know, motion blur that, you know, that we see in you know, all types of film and cinematic, you know, videos. And then on top of that, when I go into the editing process, I'm not even using any type of like custom LUT that I have. You know, I have different custom LUTs. I'm pretty sure everybody has their own custom LUTs. But as far as this video goes, I'm only using the Insta360 iLog like conversion LUT that's on their website. Like, I'm not using any custom LUTs. I'm not adding like my own like really flair to it. The only thing I'm doing is I took the conversion LUT, throwing it on the video, you know, changing the percentage a little bit, and then I tweak the basic settings, right? Just to make sure, you know, something's not, you know, too blown out or too dark or whatever the case may be. But other than that, you know, I haven't really done a lot of like color grading to this footage. You know, I'm actually like really impressed with this camera as far as the dynamic range goes. You know, the fact that you can obviously see me clearly, but you can still see the sky in full detail. You know, most of the time it's usually one or the other. If you don't have an ND filter, right, it's usually either the sky's blown out, but you're, you know, well lit, or the sky looks great, but then you're probably underexposed. You're probably dark. So for what it is, for as small as this camera is, I think this camera is great when it comes to the dynamic range that it has. You know, another thing about it is that, you know, I keep forgetting when I bought this camera is that it's an 8K camera. Like I've left it in 4K. I forgot to say that earlier, but this camera stays in 4K. But you know, with the 8K, you know, it doesn't necessarily make the video from the 4K better. But what it does do, it allows you to be able to just kind of shoot, you know, one time fits all type of capabilities, right? Where you can shoot basically like your horizontal video, and then also you can just take that video and crop it in, and that can also be like your vertical video as well. So, you know, basically you only got to hit record one time, and then that will cover all of your footage, whether it's your, you know, YouTube content or even like your social media, your TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you know, etc. type of content. You know, another thing that I wasn't really expecting to be a feature or like something that I would really like about this camera is the fact that it has internal memory. Like out the box, this camera I think has like 47 gigabytes of internal memory. Now you might think, well, that's nothing, right? And yes, in the grand scheme of like, if you're shooting just hours upon hours of footage, that's not a lot of, you know, that's not a lot of memory. But when you're talking about like just a straight out of the box, right? Like you buy the camera, you take it out of the box and you're like, I want to get started. This camera is like, you know, it's funny. I just bought a memory card. All the content that I've filmed so far, that was only using the internal memory. Like I just bought a memory card. Like I just bought this memory card. So, you know, I haven't even had to put a separate memory card in there. I'm about to use this obviously as I start shooting more longer form content. But as far as like just turning the camera on, setting up some cool shots, walking around, talking, like when you buy a standard camera, you know, you got to buy the body, you got to buy the lens, you got to get a memory card, you know, you got to get all of these different things. With this, it works right out of the box. You know, if you get like the creator combo, you know, it comes with the little like paper clip looking, you know, feet, which are actually pretty good. You just kind of like sit it down and then it will stand up on its own. You can set your shot. So it kind of comes with almost like a built-in tripod. You know, it comes with this little microphone right here, which, you know, has a magnet. You can just place it inside your jacket, clip it on. And, you know, right there you have nice clean audio. And then this recorder, I think it records audio. It has 32-bit recording. So, and if you don't know what that means, basically it's just perfect audio. You know, it's not gonna clip, it's not gonna, you know, you can kind of recover that audio. If it's too low, you can bring it up. If it's too high, you can bring it down. The point I'm basically trying to make is that the fact that this camera just straight out of the box is like, you know, depending on obviously which one you get, it's just ready to go. It just has everything that, you know, you kind of need to just start, you know, filming. And to me, the quality is really, 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 really good. Now, the big question about this camera, and I think this is the thing that might stop a lot of people from purchasing, is the price. So as it stands, just looking at the price, the camera for the standard package is $769.99. And it goes up to $969.99 if you get the full creator package. And that's the one that I end up getting. So basically, if you want to get this camera that comes with all of the different attachments, the microphone, you know, et cetera, you're looking at $1,000 basically. $1,000 is a lot of money for a camera in this category, especially when you can get online and get a brand new, you know, DJI Pocket 3 for literally half the price. And I think that even comes with a lot of the same type of accessories that the Insta360 Luna Ultra comes with. You know, just comparing those two cameras, because right now the DJI Pocket 4, you can't really purchase it here in the United States. So if I'm gonna compare it, I'm gonna compare it to the DJI Pocket 3. You know, DJI Pocket 3, it still has a great image. It has tracking. It has, you know, like their version of a log profile. I don't think it's D-Log. I think it's like DM log or something like that. I might be wrong, but they have their version of like a log profile. If you get their creative combo, it comes with a DJI microphone that I think records 32-bit float. You know, that camera has all kinds of accessories out that you can get on Amazon or wherever. It has tripods and stands. You can mount it pretty much to the same place. It has some of the same features as far as the Insta360 Luna. The layout of the menu is very similar. So, you know, you almost have to ask the question, how do I justify that price? You know, and another thing actually that I'm actually now I'm thinking about it, that I'm actually a little disappointed with the 360 is, and they might change this from the time that this video come out, you never know, they might change it in the future, but this camera can't be used as it stands as a webcam. That was actually something that I was wanting to use this camera for as well. Like I wanted to be able to just throw it on like a monopod, you know, put it like behind my monitor and just set it up as my webcam as well. Because obviously, you know, this camera is the one I'm taking everywhere. You know, I take my laptop a lot of places I go to. So I was hoping that I was gonna be able to use this camera also as a webcam, as well as, you know, with the microphone it comes with, you know. So it wasn't gonna just be my vlogging camera. It was also gonna be my meeting, streaming, YouTube studio type of camera as well. But the fact that it doesn't have webcam capabilities and you can't just plug in like an Elgato or something into it, it's like, it's kind of like puzzling, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like that's such a easy feature. I would think, I'm talking like I'm an expert, but to me, I feel like that's a feature that they could have put into this camera. With the DJI Pocket 3, it has a webcam. It has all those exact same features. So again, the big question is it worth the price? Or if you have a DJI Pocket 3, is it worth the upgrade? This is just my opinion. If you're somebody who, if you're a vlogger and you're only going to film yourself or the environment that you're walking around in, and when I say by film yourself, I'm talking about you're gonna have the camera an arm's length away, you're gonna have it turned, looking at you, facing you, and you're gonna be recording your daily content, talking to the camera just like this, or you flip the camera around and you're recording your surrounding area. If that's all you're gonna be doing, like if you're not really gonna be setting the shot up and creating these different angles and these different like you're not gonna be like walking into the scene and stuff, then to me, I don't know if it's worth shelling out almost double the amount of money for the Insta360 Luna. But if you're somebody that's gonna be filming yourself and you are going to be a part of the scene, meaning like you're gonna set the camera up somewhere and then you're gonna walk into the scene, or you're going to, be in the distance of the shot, that's where this camera does shine. The fact that you can take the monitor off and set it up and then walk to a location, again, 10, 20, 30, 40, however many feet away. I'm not sure where it caps off. I think it caps off around 30, 40 something feet. But if you are somebody that's going to be like setting up your shot, you don't have people that can help you, record yourself. You're just, you're by yourself and you want to create these cinematic vlogs with movement and tracking, and you want the perfect framing and angles, and you want to apply, different methods. You want to apply rule of thirds, et cetera, et cetera. That is where this camera shines. And I think this camera shines in ways that other cameras right now can't really imitate unless you're willing to shell out the money to go get a bunch of transmitters and receivers and stuff for another video feed. I would say if the type of recording you're gonna be doing is basically just gonna be the camera in your hand, walking, like vlogging, kind of vlogging yourself, like, DSLR style, or you're gonna be just filming the surrounding area, then I don't think it's worth buying the Insta360 with how good the DJI Pocket 3 is. Because it gives you some of the exact same features. But if you are somebody that's gonna be sitting the camera down, you're gonna be walking into the scene, you're gonna be standing, you're gonna show your full body, not just like, you're not gonna just be holding the camera out here, but it's actually gonna be set up somewhere, and you're gonna walk to the location and, and try to like get in the shot and frame yourself up. I do think it's worth the money for this particular camera. But that's pretty much the end of this video. This was just my opinion, about this camera. I've had it for a month. I've gotten to test it out and just use it in like my day to day. I've been just throwing it in my bag and just recording, trying different shots, setting it up in various different ways and scenarios just to see, how good it works. And, as I keep working with it, I might, make another video, but this is just my 1 month review of it. But, let me know what you think. Do you think this is something that, you rock with? If I missaid something, if you have any questions, comments, concern, whatever the case may be, just let me know in the comments. And with that, see y'all next time.